Hello everybody, my name is Bill. Welcome back to the NCAA Football 07 Dynasty Mode Explanation Series. We have finally made it to the WAC. Last time we were here, we evaluated the Sun Belt, with Florida State being the champions. Now we are on to the WAC with Louisiana Tech being the champions, followed by New Mexico State, Boise State, Nevada, Hawaii, Utah State, Fresno State, Idaho, and the local favorite in this series, San Jose State, for them having that 19-game losing streak that ended, because as you can see, they finally have a win. Longest losing streak here is Utah State, although, now that I think about it, let's see who has the longest losing streak. And Indiana has the longest losing streak right now, so that's something to kind of look forward to talking about come the beginning of next season, which I will do it live on YouTube for me to be able to get it done the whole off season, from recruiting to the off season stuff to everything. But anyway, on to the WAC, with Louisiana Tech finishing the year 11-12. Their best win came against Boise State back in week 13, 38-28 to secure the championship. And their worst loss came in the Idaho Potato Bowl, which this game calls the MPC Computers Bowl. I'm used to it being Idaho Potato. So, Idaho Potato Bowl against Colorado State 26-14. They have great passing offense, scoring, great defense, and great on third down conversions. They just need to improve on turnovers. The Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech won this conference by going undefeated in conference play, having the second best total offense in the conference at 540.6 yards per game, third best in passing yards per game at 303.2 yards per game, scoring 33.2 points per game, and scoring 78% of the time when they were in the red zone, holding teams to a conference best 287.3 yards per game, getting 37 sacks and converting on 43% of their third downs. They were practically unstoppable, but one thing slowed them down a bit. They turned the ball over 29 times, including throwing 22 interceptions. They lowered the turnover number. They can easily, without a doubt, repeat as the WAC champions. As you can see, they finished 18th in the country. Pretty impressive for a WAC team, you know? And now we go to New Mexico State, who've finished the year 10-3. Their best win came in Week 10 against Boise State, 32-30. Their worst loss came in Week 5 against Louisiana Tech, 38-31. They also have a great passing attack. They're also good at scoring, especially in the red zone. They're good at defense, sacks, and interceptions. They just need to do better on third down conversions, get some better discipline, and also run the ball a bit more. New Mexico State has an amazing passing offense, the best in the conference at 402.5 yards per game, and they're scoring nearly 40 points per game, as we will go ahead and go look at their stats right now. Once this loads, that's the thing about this old game. They also have top 3 defense in the conference, second in the conference in interceptions at 27, holding teams to 24 points per game, and is just a great team overall. This is Idaho though. So, New Mexico State. Yeah, 39.8 points per game. The second best passing offense in the entire country. You know. And they need to balance it out though. As you can see, they only had 50.5 yards per game on the ground. And they need to convert more third down conversions, as they were 51 for 47 for a 34% conversion rate. In actuality, that would be a, hold on, pulling up the calculator on my Kindle. See, okay, 51 divided by 147. It's closer to 35 at 34.6. I guess the game just chose not to round it up. But as you can see, they're tied for worst in the conference. And they also need to be a bit more disciplined as well. They were called on 106 penalties for 841 yards. If they get that together, I think they'll be hoisting the WAC trophy next year. And now we go from New Mexico State to Boise State, who finished 22nd in the nation, and their record was 10-3. They finished the year. Well, their best win came at the beginning of the year when they beat number 15 Oregon on the road, 17-14. And I'd say their worst loss was that loss to Louisiana Tech, because that basically sealed the deal on them winning. Well, that kept them from possibly winning the WAC, because I don't know if Boise State beat Louisiana Tech, but New Mexico State beat Louisiana Tech beat New Mexico State. How that would have fully worked, especially if New Mexico State beat Boise State. I don't know how a three-way tie would have worked here. Would have been kind of nice to see. But they got better rushing offense than a lot of these teams in this conference. They got good red zone scoring, passing defense, which is really good considering this conference. They're good at holding teams back defensively for the scoring. And also, so they're good at getting sacks. They're good on the interceptions. And they have a low turnover number. They just need to improve on third downs as well, along with allowing sacks. The Broncos have a great rushing game at 158.2 yards per game, which is most in the conference. And in a pass-happy conference, they need to keep the ball on the ground to wear out the other defenses, because it's easier for you to win the games when you hold on to the ball longer and not turn it over. They need to protect their quarterback, though, because they allowed 33 sacks throughout the entire season. Their defense was great this year, allowing 296.3 yards per game, including only allowing 178 passing yards per game. They allowed 18.8 points per game, got 37 sacks, 28 interceptions, 34 turnovers total, and converting 77% of the time when they were in the red zone. They will easily be a team to watch next year, but they were also tied for 34% on the third down conversions. So, yeah, they fix that up. They can easily do better next year. Now we move on to Nevada, who best finished the year 4-8. Their best win came in against Hawaii, 24-22, and their worst loss was back in week 4 against UNLV, 56-42. They got some young guys, but that's all I could find positive for them. They just need to get into the red zone and do better on defense and hold on to the football. Nevada needs to improve a bit heading into next year. They have some young guys eager to get their time on the gridiron, as there are 23 freshmen on the roster. They do need more red zone attempts, because having 36 total attempts isn't a winning formula. That's 3 attempts per game. And you're not going to do all that well if you get into the red zone 3 times a game, and you're not scoring on deep balls down the field. They also need to hold on to the ball, losing 13 fumbles on the way to finishing 500 in the conference. They also need to calm down on their penalty yards as well. Basically, their discipline in general is they had 709 yards on 89 penalties. They need defense too, as they allowed 316.5 yards per game aimed through the air, in retail allowing nearly 36 points per game. Lower those numbers, and I think they could be in a bowl game next year. Hawaii. Next up on the list is Hawaii, who finished the year 6-7, also 4-4 in conference. Their best win came against Tulane back in week 3, 42-20. And their worst loss came back in week 6 against Louisiana Tech in a close battle, 21-20. They also have a great passing offense, they're great at scoring, and they hold on to the football well. They just need better offense on the ground, allowing sacks, and some more discipline. Hawaii has an amazing passing game that was third in the entire nation, only behind McNair Central and New Mexico State. They are also third in the conference in scoring with 30.4 points per game. They also held on the ball well, only having lost 5 fumbles. They need to calm down on interceptions though, because they threw 28 interceptions. They also only had 44 rushing yards per game. They have to do better on that end. They also allowed 48 sacks, which will happen when you pass the ball a lot. They also need to have better discipline, as they had 100 penalties for 833 yards. If they can calm down a bit, then they would be better next year, and maybe, just maybe, compete for the WAC championships. And now we go from Hawaii to Utah State, who also finished the year 4-8. Now the reason why Hawaii is behind Nevada is because of the win that Nevada has over Hawaii. So Utah State went 4-8. Their best win came in a close matchup against Idaho back in week 5, 25-24. And the worst loss was a big old drumming by Hawaii, 45-26 back in week 11. They also have a good rushing attack. They also have a good rushing defense. They're good on third down. They're disciplined. They don't have that many fumbles, and they protect their quarterback as well. But they need to do better passing the ball, getting sacks, forcing turnovers, and their red zone defense. Yeah, I see that I had something a lot more for Utah State, because the Yankees have an effective rushing attack, but they are horrible everywhere else on offense. As I overshot them looking at the script. Let's see, Utah State, there we go. Yeah, 152 rushing yards a game. Now you see they only had 190.4 yards per game in the year. Worst in the conference. And they scored only 22.9 points per game. And with the red zone, well, the red zone was more defense. They protected their quarterback enough. They only allowed 21 sacks, which is a good thing. Defensively, they not only 114 for rushing yards, but they only got 10 interceptions and recovered 8 fumbles? Yeah, 8 fumbles. So, they gotta force some more turnovers. And they need to calm down on that red zone scoring, because some teams that score 82% of the times, not really a good way to win games. And I think they were one of the best teams. Yeah, only 80 penalties for 601 yards. So not that bad penalty-wise. They just need to also force more turnovers, because they had a -5 turnover differential. I think they could be a bowl contending team next year if they can correct a few things on the defensive side of the ball. Now we go from Utah State to Fresno State. They're good on third down. They're disciplined as well, and they do force turnovers. They just need to basically get better at red zone scoring. They need to recover fumbles more, and they need to force some turnovers themselves. as we will see here in a minute. And they also have a good rushing attack as well, 129 yards per game on the ground. Fresno State is average, but 40% conversion around third downs. And finished second in the conference penalties. Oh, wrong button. Well, second in penalty yards, third in just penalties in general. They also had 19 turnovers. Well, they had 19 turnovers given up, which is tied for the best in the conference. They need to force more turnovers, though, which was worse in the conference. They only recovered 2 fumbles, scored 62% in the red zone. Like, they need to, I mean, like I said, their numbers here are kind of average, you know. Maybe improve the rushing game a bit more. Yeah, 2 fumble recoveries. They need to focus on that. And own teams score 77% of the time. They fix those numbers up, they could be in a bowl game next year. Idaho is next. And I do have a good portion of their stats listed out. They are 2-10. Best one came against Nevada in a shocker back in week number 6, 46-31. And the worst loss was to in-state rival Boise State, 34-10. They were good with rushing touchdowns, protecting their quarterback, recovering fumbles, and being good on third downs. But they do need improvements on the rest of the offense, just the defense in general, and especially defensive red scoring. Vandals have a decent rushing game and scores touchdowns at a great rate, having 15 touchdowns on the ground. They do have 110.5 yards per game, which is decent, but in a conference where most teams are airing it out, having a ground game to counteract them is a great idea. They aren't good at passing the ball themselves and not good defensively, but do a good job recovering fumbles. They get the ground game better next season, and they will be a team of underdogs that could do something. I'm not saying they can go bowling. They might get close, though. I'm thinking maybe a 4-8, 5-7 record. You know, game will probably somehow allow them to go into a bowl game as an at-large, probably. And that'll be fun, especially since they convert on 40% of their third downs as well. And now, last but not least, we have San Jose State. 1-11. Their only win came in the surprise of a lifetime in Week 14 against Louisville, 32-29. Their worst loss had to be in Week 13 against Idaho, 44-14. They're disciplined and they're gutsy on fourth down, but they need better offense and defense. But yeah, San Jose State, a team that lost 19 games in a row, only to shock the world by upsetting Louisville on the last game of their season. They need help on both sides of the ball, and forcing turnovers, and keeping the ball, but they have heart leading into next season. The win will help them, especially with being a big school like Louisville and recruiting. You could get a couple of 2, maybe 3-star players with y'all bragging about that. You know, maybe get a few kids from Kentucky out of there. And I think they might have a chance to win some more games next year. And I will keep watch on how they do next season. And that is the last team. Next, we will be doing the off-season stuff, which I can go ahead and show you. Go into play week. I play week. And as advance into off-season, this is what we will be doing next time. So until then, I will see you all next time.